Jake Paul is truly one of a kind. When you think he's done all he could to get under people's skin, he finds yet another way to make him one of the most controversial creators in the game. I would say hated, but I'm sure he has a lot of fans and support. Regardless of how you feel, love him or hate him, Jake Paul is very good at what he does, which is being an entertainer. As an entertainer, as long as the people are talking, you're doing something right. Now I know a lot of you guys will say you'd rather not be known at all than known for being hated, but it seems regardless of why people talk about you, as long as you spell your name right, your brand goes up. It's a weird world we live in, it's only getting more strange, and of course, some people are so hated they aren't making money off their brand. Jake, on the other hand, well, it appears he could do a lot of wrong, yet he still somehow profits. Earlier this year, he was caught in a mall while it was being looted during the protests in Arizona. This led to his house being investigated by the FBI. More recently, he knocked out a former NBA star and went on to call out Conor McGregor, who he's been going after for quite some time now. And once again, Paul has found ways to make headlines, as it's been revealed prior to throwing his pandemic party, he got a bailout loan from the government. I'm gonna tell you guys all about it right now in IO, but before I do, smash that like button and check out this great promo for Landon Productions. The original channel is coming back. We got a little promo for you right here.
Is the Canada Goose gonna take it on?
I'm on top like I'm goddamn Mario, right? I'm just
Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Okay, is this real life right now?
Now, it's definitely no secret that numerous small businesses, as well as employees of said businesses, have been out of work due to the pandemic. And depending who you ask, the government has done what they could, or not nearly enough, to ensure these businesses and people now out of work have their income supplemented for the time being, while the lockdown protocols continue getting more strict. Of those who would likely say the government has done plenty includes Jake Paul, who, according to reports, received a bailout loan of just under $35,000 in April. Let's not forget, at one point, Paul even said the pandemic was a hoax, but has since retracted what he said and claimed his words were taken out of context. The recording proves otherwise, but hey, wouldn't expect anything else from Jake, who is known for pushing boundaries and then pulling back when he realized he's crossed the line. For a guy who thinks this whole thing is a hoax, it sure is interesting to see he got a bailout check from the government. That being said, Jake did retract what he said and feels his words were taken out of context, even though he did say, and I quote him saying this is the most detrimental thing to our society. COVID cases are at less than 1%, and I think the disease is a hoax. Now I will say, guys, I would recommend you guys check out the entire interview. It seems, although he doesn't think the pandemic is that big of a deal, he still understands the severity of the situation and has since tried to prove that. And it's likely because people found out he took a loan stemming from the lockdowns when the Small Business Administration released new data on Paycheck Protection Program loans, PPP loans, under $150,000 on December 1st. It wasn't specifically Jake who got the loan, but Team 10 Inc., which Jake is the owner of. And the loan wasn't for him to stuff his pockets with cash, but instead it was intended to go to small businesses who were struggling to keep their employees on payroll due to the restrictions in certain states. California was definitely one of the states with more lockdown restrictions, and given that Jake does employ videographers, photographers, editors, managers, and content creators, he definitely had a reason to take the loan. He's got employees he needs to pay. The issue here is that unlike numerous other small businesses who were actually struggling to work and make money during the pandemic, Jake not only continued to produce content, but he was also throwing house parties. So not only was he taking away money from other small businesses who actually needed the loan to pay their employees, which they couldn't afford to, but he was potentially prolonging the lockdown by having massive parties without guests wearing masks. Even if they were wearing masks, still, it's just fried. Now, just because Jake was making some money doesn't necessarily mean that everyone on his payroll was. And he definitely does not need to personally pay out of his pocket to keep his business afloat. It's possible his business was affected by all of this because he couldn't go out and create the type of content he normally would, which would make him all this money. The point I'm getting at is, even though what Jake did was incredibly scummy, technically it wasn't illegal, which just proves how flawed the government system for assistance truly is. Unfortunately, the reality is with almost any business, well, they'll always find a way to ensure they make money without having to spend it. For Jake and his company, if he could pay his employees almost $35,000 because the government system for giving out loans during these tough times is incredibly flawed, well, I'd hate to break it to you guys, but he's going to. As would any other company that you guys know of. It's a sad reality of business, and as morally wrong as it is, technically it's not illegal. This just highlights the problem the government has in the first place, while also highlighting how greedy some people can be. All in all, it's truly a shame hundreds, maybe even thousands of businesses across the country had to permanently close their doors and couldn't receive proper loans from the government because of loopholes like this. And as much as it gives us all a reason to hate Jake, if it wasn't him, it would have been someone else. Not to defend the kid, because I'm not, Just being realistic. He's yet to comment on the situation, nor would I expect him to. Given that his brother is now officially fighting Floyd Mayweather, all eyes will be on Jake to see who he fights next, and he'll probably be a part of that card as well with Floyd and Logan, so, you know, it's just another way to get out of this one. Like every other controversy that Jake has been involved in or a part of, this one will also blow over and everyone will forget about it, which really is a shame because we gotta just stop supporting people after they do awful things. Just my personal opinion, but I'd love to hear yours. How do you guys feel about all this? And do you think Jake ever gets held accountable? Or does everyone forget, as they usually tend to, and just move on to something else? Alright guys, let me know your thoughts on this one down below. For now, let's do some comment replies from the video. Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather fight confirmed. Blossom Utonium said, pretty pathetic that this legend is giving attention to people as toxic as the Paul brothers. Money and attention is a hell of a thing. Well, I mean, Floyd is the money man. I mean, I wouldn't say it's pathetic. Like, if someone was just like, yo, hey, we'll give you $5 million to just beat somebody up, which you're not even gonna get hit. Why wouldn't he do it? Eleanor H said boxing is dying because of the UFC. This seems like a money grab and to try to get some attention. I wouldn't say it's dying because of the UFC. I think the UFC is definitely kind of taken over the fight world. But boxing is still pretty big. I know all over the world people love boxing. And I think if anything, it's going to help the sport because it's going to bring more eyes to the boxing world that normally don't watch. So Frazier said Logan once had a draw with KSI and thinks he's God. I think the whole Paul family have thought they've been God for a while. Although Jake more so than Logan. Logan seems a little more level-headed. Just my opinion, I don't know. Anyways guys, that's it for this one. Been your host Jared Bronstein. Okay, bye.